Hello friends, welcome back to Rajanotes channel. This is the first edition of the December current affairs and tidbits of the SMT. Chinese spacecraft Chang'e 5, it has landed on moon, and it has also placed a flag on the moon, and it has picked up some of the samples from the lunar samples from the moon, and it is supposed to come back to the earth. And in case the return journey is successful, then the China becomes the third country in this world to have retrieved samples from moon, the other two being US and Soviet Union as late as about 1960s and 1970s. Amid all this farmer crisis happening in the country, China now for the first time buys rice from India in last 30 years. The traditional exporters to China were like Pakistan and Thailand, but due to this pandemic, the countries are tightening its export policies to preserve the food grain stock in their own countries. So now, with no other option, China is now looking forward to India, and now it is importing rice from India. Initially, when things were all okay, they had rejected the Indian rice on terms of quality, but now they want it badly. So if you see, overall pandemic has actually helped us as far as India China trade is concerned. Ever since the pandemic has happened, the trade between India China has gone up, especially in terms of our export, and it has reduced the imports from China. So I see it as a good thing happening with us. Over this farm bill, you will find the UK and Canada MPs, and they probably all of them supporting the protesters in India. And this farm bill might figure out in your question paper as to why. First, you should be aware as to what are those three bills. Where is the main problem, or why is the agitation taking place, and what are the steps being taken to resolve it, and most importantly, how is this meddling of other countries into the internal affairs of India on rise, and what can be done to curb them effectively, and how can our external affairs policy be shaped as per the new requirement. This is a probable question, or something on these lines may be asked. So in addition to the farm bill, that abrogation of article 370 will also help you. uh, there was a recent the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which held the meeting was held, and again China pitched his voice for the China Belt and Road Initiative, which is also called as the BRI. But India was very clear, and it made its stance very clear, and it refused to support China on this road and belt policy initiative, since the BRI passes the CPEC passes through the Indian occupied Kashmir, or which is there, we call it Pakistan occupied Kashmir. So as we claim that it is ours, and therefore we don't endorse this move of China. Pakistan Prime Minister has laid a foundation stone for an energy park in Kutch Bhuj area in Gujarat, and this is slated to be the world's biggest energy park, which is expected to generate about 30,000 megawatts of renewable energy through the solar panels, and it is to come up as a great thing to solve our energy crisis. Chinese scientists have claimed that they have achieved a quantum supremacy. Now, this can be an SMT point. As per this, what is quantum supremacy? As of now, the present quantum computers used by the Google, which is supposed to be having supercomputers, he says that quantum computers can process 10 billion times faster than Google quantum computers, which are present. Now, they are using this data transfer on manipulation of the photons or particles of light. We all last video we discussed how the photons or light are being used to transmit the data. Now, based on that, China claims that it has achieved this. But if this is there, then you can probably understand that with this kind of computing, there is no science and technology will probably undergo a radical change which we must not even thought of. So this can be just a point, SMT point, which can be thought of. What Google quantum computers uses is called as a ultra cold chips. So if you find something what is ultra cold chip and how China is creating an answer to this, you should know that he is talking something about the quantum computers speed supremacy, which is being spoken of. Yeah, this is the flag of the China, which has been placed on moon, and I let's hope this is true. And this is the same space probe which left moon with the rock samples, and it should reach Earth. Let's see. And related to space only, the astronauts in NASA have grown radish for the first time in the space, and probably they are not as of now consuming it, but they are sending these radishes back to the Earth, so that wherein they can be checked for their nutrition, their contents, whether it is consumable or not. So this is a good step towards self-reliance, and this will reduce the probably the luggage or baggage what is carried out, payloads, when you go up onto your space station. So if you can start growing your own stuff on the space station and nothing like it, and probably this is a step towards that achievement of having a harvesting area, a greenhouse kind of a thing on the moon itself, wherein you can do your agriculture, and a further thing of settling the mankind on the moon. US has approved a sale of about $90 million worth of military equipment service to India, and this is basically to support the fleet of C-130J Super Hercules military transport aircrafts, which India has procured from the US. So this is again though it is a huge amount, but again a good step to say about the US Indo military tie-ups. And also in the same way, the Lockheed Martin for the first time has revealed the MH-60 Romeo multi-role helicopters for the Indian Navy, and we had placed about 24 of these helicopters under the government deal. The MH-60 helicopters are very reliable, and they are capable of taking on, off, and working from the destroyers, cruisers, and the aircraft carriers. It is certainly a fighting enhancing potential of the maritime forces. Uh, Shivan, that is ISRO chairperson, has said that the Gaganyaan, which we are planning to send a human space mission, will be delayed because of the COVID. And we actually were planned it was planned in December 2021, but we will be celebrating probably on 2022, when we will have 75th year. Probably it will be 1 year delay because of this COVID pandemic. Just to know about that. US is now claiming to have a startup which is by a company called as Aptera Motors, which says that it has already created a prototype of a solar vehicle that requires no charging at all. You keep using it, and it keep charging on the roads, and it has got a full range over 1600 kilometers per day, and it can travels about 17,000 odd kilometers in a year, purely on the sunlight. And it will not be a very economic kind of a vehicle. It does have a capabilities of moving from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.5 seconds. The India has donated its final, I must say, the amount of 22 crores for finishing the total 88 crore dollars to Palestine to construct the Indo-Palestine Techno Park in Palestine at a place called as Ramallah, and this is likely to be inaugurated in February or March of 2021. This was a long-term project which was pending, and with this final cash money of 22 crores being handed over, the techno park is likely to take on. While China has gone down to moon to collect samples and get back, the Hayabusa 2, the Japanese spacecraft which was launched in 2014, after almost 4 years, it reached a asteroid called as Yudu, and it has ended landing back onto the Earth with the samples which it collected from this asteroid. And these Hayabusa 2, the spacecraft landed, the capsule landed near the Woomera, Australia on Sunday. So now scientists are going through it through this asteroids for its chemical composition, metallic composition, and the type of gases which can be found. So based on that, then probably now the mine harvesting from the asteroids will also take place. It is, if you recollect, during the Galwan, there was a political signal from the Indian government to occupy 6 to 7 locations on LAC in March. This was revealed very recently, and the government had already instructed the armed forces to be ready for a long haul. So this is just an add-on to a question, in case if it comes, as to what was the political shift of India that we discussed in probably my third or fourth video previously. How is the political external affairs or the political shift happening in India? So it is an add-on point to that. Russia has signed a deal to set up a naval base in Sudan for at least 25 years, and this is to be set up as an African nation of Sudan for 25 years. And this is a part of Russia's effort to expand its global reach, and according to this, the Russia would be supplying weapons and military equipment in exchange for setup of Sudan's Red Sea area. So you can see Russia, though of late, ever since its balkanization, has been trying to regain its supremacy, but somehow could not. But now slowly and slowly he is expanding his fangs outside. So let's see how much more he can go with this. The India has told its defense forces to stock the weapons and ammunition for 15 days of intense war. I really don't know, this kind of news coming out in public domain is a question mark. Generally it is not, and it is there, but understand why such kind of news is put out in the public domain. So probably it is a message which has been given clearly to the world across, and including our immediate two neighbors who are trying to act funny. So I will see this again as a add-on to your external policy, or a shift in your thought process, the India's thought process. Israel and Bhutan have established a formal diplomatic relations. Okay, now how does this help us? Yeah, this helps us because still now Israel, still there are countries in this world which don't recognize Israel as a country. Number one. Number two, Israel has been a steadfast friend with India, and Bhutan also has been a steadfast friend with India. So this might lead to a new organization, maybe a trilateral organization, and maybe because of this, Bhutan will share, or India will share its any resources or technology or something with the Israel. So it overall it is good for us, since Bhutan being a ally with India. So a great thing, and moreover, Israel is also getting its due recognition post it got recognition from the Arab world also. So overall, good thing for Israel. Boeing has flown a test version of its refueling tanker drone, which is called as MQ-25, and it has got a refueling pod of ARS, and it was successfully flown for about 2.5 hours, and it is the US Navy ultimately hopes that about 70 drones will be participating, and if this is a success, then I must say that the unarmed combat aerial vehicles, or the combat aerial vehicles, or even the fighter aircraft, will have its ranges extended beyond your imagination without being dependent on anyone. If the fuel is also being supplied by drones, if the fighting is also being supplied by done by drones, and then the human per se sitting in the machine will reduce. So just imagine the uh, changes which is going to happen in the war scenario, wherein you are now fighting with machines and machines alone, with no loss to the humankind. So this will change the narrative of the coming wars. As to this will change the tactics of the coming wars. A very good and a big news for India. Post this pandemic and everything, the Samsung has invested up to 4,800 crores in India to shift its display plant from China to India, and they are shifting it to Noida in Uttar Pradesh. And this has been facilitated by the UP government because it gave a stamp exemption duty of about 250 crores in transfer of land. And also it has promised to give Samsung about 460 crore dollars financial incentive under central government scheme. So UP is trying hard. Not only UP, the many states like Telangana is also trying. Telangana, Andhra are few of the UP are few of the states which are trying to lure the foreign investments into their particular regions, and promising them a lot of incentives and less of paperwork and less of more of transparency. So if Samsung comes into India, it will certainly be a good thing. Like we have already started assembling the iPhones now. Imagine all Samsung phones being assembled in here. So you get up with your generation of income, and also it will be feel happy whenever you see something as made in India or assembled in India. ISRO is planning to launch its 42nd communication satellite on December 17th, and this will be launched from Andhra Pradesh Sriharikota, and it is this satellite is called as CMS-01, and it will be the 42nd communication satellite, and it will be working in an extended C-band frequency, and this will cover the entire Indian subcontinent, including our Andaman and Lakshadweep islands. So we will have our own communication satellite, and we will be less dependent on any failures of the foreign or the other communication satellites which we are using. So India is almost self-reliant on our own satellites. So this is again a big step. But point to note that every satellite you launch is not just a satellite, it is also something which will enhance your own defense capabilities. So you should take away something from this launch as well for your defense upgradation capabilities. India and Qatar have agreed to set up a task force on the energy investments recently. The Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan and the Qatar Petroleum Vice President, they met along, and they have signed an agreement wherein India will import about 8.5 million tons of LNG from Qatar under a long-term contract. Are finally something shaping up for the Armenia and Azerbaijan's conflict over the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, and now Turkish President Erdogan attended a military parade celebrating the Azerbaijan's victory over this area, and he says that he could open the borders with Armenia if it takes a step towards a regional peace. And it was actually a truce which was brokered by the Russia between Azerbaijan and Armenia, and somehow Azerbaijan has captured a larger chunk of the land. The JVPC, which is a 5.56 mm, 5.56 into 30 mm joint venture protective carbine, is the latest submachine gun manufactured by DRDO, and it has cleared the trials, and Ministry of Defense has given its go ahead to induct into the Indian Armed Forces. So this will be in addition to the AK-47, I think the AK-301 or 2, which I'm really forgetting as of now. The latest one which we're acquiring, it will be in addition to this. This JVPC will be is a rather a gas operated semi-automatic weapon with over 700 rounds per minute rate of fire. It is a small foldable weapon. Hopefully it should serve the purpose of the small arm carbine. General Kenneth McKenzie has told that they had flew two B-52H heavy bombers over the Middle East as part of their plans to deter Iran from any aggressive action. Iran has been under constant radar of US because Iran tries to take advantage, and it doesn't seems to heed to US advices. So these two aircrafts flew over the Iran without any kind of opposition. That itself is a signal to Iran not to undertake any unwarranted actions as per US. And one of the rare news is this is Russia will be taking part in a joint naval drill with NATO members for the first time in 10 years. This is a part of Aman 2021 anti-piracy drill off the coast of Pakistan, which will happen in February 2021. And this Aman 2021 will have navies from 30 countries, including NATO members. So Russia taking part along with the NATO members is a news. So those typical NATO allied forces, those things are no more, the boundaries of those are now slowly becoming blur. Iran and Afghanistan inaugurated their first railway link, and the 140 kilometers line runs from Iran's Kiev city into the western Afghanistan, and which will eventually be expanded further by about 85 kilometers to finally reach the Afghan city of Herat. And it is said that Iran hopes to transform itself into a regional transport hub, allowing the landlocked Asian countries to transport goods to its port. Now, how does it affect India? It really helps India because we have our own ties with Afghanistan, and if we have a great port, then the remember those Chabar ports and our investment into that, and it's functioning. So overall, this deal will improve India's stand, and probably we will be able to counter the Chinese CPEC and other stuff. So that is all, my friends, that I have for the first edition of the December month. And please do stay subscribed, just listen to this constantly, keep yourself updated, and if you have anything, any suggestions, do let me know. Otherwise, God is great, and take care of yourself. Bye bye.